Hello everybody and welcome back to RainBro Crafts. My name is Colton and today I am going to be making a Bramble Berry candle kit for you, their Sensuous Sandalwood Candle project, and I'll put a link down in the description box below of that. So let's just get this unboxed. In the big box there we had our 40 ounces of coconut soy wax, and then we had 3 different dye flake colors. We had a strawberry red, a melon orange, and then a charcoal black. In that little bag there we had some wick stickers, and then that is our Sensuous Sandalwood fragrance oil, which is a really good sandalwood fragrance. Obviously candle safe, but also soap safe as well. And then in that bag there we have our wicks. We have 4 of them in there. Actually, we have more than 4. And then in the other box that I am opening up now, we have our terracotta 2-tone ceramic containers with a wooden effect lid. These are really cool because the top section is actually textured and then the bottom section is smooth. So it's a really cool kind of sensory experience. I had 2 complaints with these. One, the lids are just like MDF, not real wood, so you couldn't probably like laser engrave them like our cork lids. And then the rough part, especially on the inside when I went to clean them, was very sharp. So it was a little painful to clean them out. I don't think I needed to put some rubbing alcohol in there to clean them, but I do that for all of our candle jars anyways. And then I'm just following the steps of the project here. So the next step after measuring out the fragrance oil was to put the wicks in the containers. So first I'm going to affix the wick stickers to the bottom of the wicks. We did do one with one of our wooden wicks to see how that would burn in this size of a vessel. So that's a slight difference from the normal kit. We did like these jars, so we figured since we're testing out this candle kit, we might as well see if the jars would work for something if we wanted to do like a limited release in the future or something like that. And then you'll just place these wicks in the center. We don't use wick centering tools or templates on our candles, but if you did have that, that probably would work well here. You'll see that the wick didn't stick into that jar that doesn't have a wick in it, and that's because the rubbing alcohol took forever to evaporate, and I'm not sure why. And then you're supposed to mix or melt 40 ounces of the coconut soy wax in a double boiler. Our bag of wax was completely solid, and then I went to go soften it in the microwave. These bags are microwave safe. We've had them with our soap base before, and the bag sprung a leak, and so that is why I'm doing whatever the heck I am doing right now and making a huge mess. And it must just be because it was cold. It was cold outside. It's not super warm in our house. And then I'll just weigh off 40 ounces of that kind of soft coconut soy wax. I did end up melting all of the wax and then just putting the rest in a resealable container for later use. Now that the wax is melted to 185 degrees, you start adding in the color chips a little bit at a time. To get a terracotta color, we're trying to match the candle jars on the right there, and I'll put a picture from the Bramble Berry website of what the color is supposed to look like. I think I did a pretty decent job. One thing that I didn't do correctly that the instructions did say was to use a non-porous piece of paper, like wax paper, something like that, to do a color test. So in a minute here I'm going to do a drop test on some paper over cardboard, but the wax kind of just soaked into the paper, so it wasn't the best color testing experience. We don't really do candle colors just because it's a little finicky it also adds an additional complication to burn testing, and colors are just a little more finicky because that color looks very dark in that picture, but obviously once the wax hardens, it adds like a white cast to it, so it is not going to be that color in the end. And then once the color is where I want it and the wax is cooled down to about 165, which wasn't in the instructions, I poured in the fragrance oil, and there was about 3.2 ounces that I stirred in there. And then I stir this for 2 minutes, which is how we make all of our candles. And then after you stirred it for 2 minutes, you let that wax set till it is about 135 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you'll be able to pour that. This isn't in the steps as well in the instruction guide. It's just way easier to use this pancake pour machine than it is to pour from the pitcher that I was using, since I melted the wax in the microwave. Our normal candle pitchers are metal, and obviously that's not microwave safe. And then you dose out 10 ounces and some change of wax into each of these jars, which it didn't say that either. I just divided the 40 ounces of wax plus the 3.2 ounces of fragrance oil evenly between the 4 containers there. And then we don't have the like wick centering thingies, technical term, either, just because with wooden wicks you don't have to keep them upright. So I just used some label tape to keep them as centered as possible. These are not for sale, these were just for testing. I gave one to my mom, and then we just have the other 3 hanging around the house, so I wasn't terribly concerned about centering them 100%. Also, I usually am wearing gloves when I'm doing candles, and I obviously don't have gloves on either. And we will just finish up dosing off that fragranced candle wax into those jars, and then the hard part is waiting, because you want to see what they look like color-wise, but these take quite a while to cool down just because they're very heavy containers, and it is wintertime when I'm making this, so very cold outside and also in the house. I will say, if you are interested in making candles, this was a pretty good kit. I have done one other kit from Bramble Berry for candle making in the past, and that was a little more beginner friendly, I think, than this. And you'll see here, the tops of these look pretty crummy. We're gonna trim the wicks first, and then I'll fix the tops to make them much smoother. I think this was because I moved the table on accident before the wax had completely hardened, and that's just what happens. It also could have been because there was some bubbles in the candle wax when I poured them. There's a couple reasons why, but we can fix it anyways. We have a heat gun, but if you don't have a heat gun and you're doing this and you get some ugly spots on the top of your candle, you can use a hairdryer. That works pretty well also. I did have to do some pretty major fixing because I wanted the tops to be completely smooth. This is where my inexperience with making colored candles kind of shows, because with white wax candles, it's not quite as noticeable when there's an issue on the top as there was with this kind of terracotta mauve colored wax. The important thing to note when you're doing this is to keep your heat gun on low. This heat gun that we have has 2 settings, but if you have it on too high and you get it on the wick, you can actually light the wick on fire on accident, and we don't want that. We're just trying to smooth out the tops just a little bit to make them a little more polished looking. It's not really a critique, my other kit that I used from Bramble Berry to make candles, and I'll see if they still sell that kit, and I'll put a link in the bottom in the description box, but there wasn't like labels or anything for these jars, so if you did want to give them as gifts, you would have to print out your own labels, which is fine. but that just wasn't something that they had. These do look very nice and modern, so you could just give them as is and add like a warning label on the bottom, which you can just find a warning label template on the internet and for a candle and add that if you would like. Again, we didn't sell these, so I didn't worry about doing that. After I finish smoothing out these tops, you actually need to wait at least 24 hours. Not 24 hours, you need to at least wait 3 to 5 days before the wax in the candle is cured completely before you do a burn test, or it might not work correctly. The scent throw might not be great, might tunnel. So definitely wait 5 days, a week. We normally wait 7 days just to test it. And then here is a burn test. This is after about 2 hours. So I did have a little bit of tunneling, and that could be from the colorant that I used. It could be from a lot of reasons. If you do want to support the channel, we do have a subscription service where you can get soaps of the month, but also you can get candles of the month now. So definitely check out our website if you are interested in getting a small or large candle at the beginning of each month. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can see what RainBro Crafts comes up with next. Bye.